America.
Well, amid the worsening conflict in Ukraine, a major UN climate report says that the planet will face unavoidable risks if action is not taken now. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres called the evidence an indictment of failed climate leadership. The study says that as the planet continues to overheat, some aspects of life as we know it may be lost forever. This is the first report from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change in almost 10 years. But is the world listening? Well, to give us analysis on this new climate report, climate change advocate Paddy Ezeala joins me live in the studio. Patrick, thank you for joining us. I mean, obviously, this report was out yesterday and it probably didn't get the prominence because of what's happening in Ukraine and Russia. It would have been the lead story globally, but it was almost like hidden because of the atrocities that we're seeing. But essentially, every climate change report that comes out, none of it is nothing's positive. It doesn't look like progress is being made. Yeah,
with regard to climate change, it has always been an urgent issue. It has become more urgent now because all the meetings, conferences that have been taking place have not produced concrete action on ground. Because it is usually said that with regard to environment or climate change, you think globally, but you act locally. There has not been serious action locally. People are willing to participate in conference for the parties and all that. But when it comes to doing those needful, those simple activities, action on ground, some of them are called the nationally determined contributions, what is expected of countries to do. Some countries are not meeting up. If it's trying to cut down emissions of greenhouse gases, I mean, nothing is happening much in that regard. And this report is saying that in the foreseeable future, the planet is going to be hotter than it is. A lot of things are going to happen, and it will be difficult for human beings to really live the way they should live now. So if you, I know that the focus on climate issues have been deflected by some intervening variables, so to speak. For now, the tension in Russia and Ukraine, and we are just coming out of the COVID, not yet out anyway, from the pandemic. So all these things are intervening. But how serious are governments in this? In Nigeria, where we are, the government has taken some action with regard to creating more national parks, protected areas. 10. In addition to existing 7, they have not fully taken off. But even at that, there is massive deforestation here. 1.5 million trees are felled in Nigeria every day. Across the states, Cross River State, I can name them: Ogun State, Edo State, Taraba State. The people are they have declared war on the forests. So that is antithetical, more to speak, to the government's posture with regard to climate change. What is the government doing? Are they bringing these people to book? Are people being arrested? Are people being prosecuted? Nothing is happening. The president has gone to various platforms, various conferences, promising that Nigeria will plant millions of trees. I don't think much has been done in that regard. Mm-hmm. So, likewise, many other countries, not just Nigeria. So that is where the problem lies. Promises, commitments being made are not being met. So I think the report is correct. There should be urgent, drastic action to be taken, to be able to mitigate.
You mentioned about sort of leaders being how serious they are. Yeah. Now let's look at the United States. It's one of the most top polluters. We're always told China, the US and India, those three have to basically really be serious. Now, we've seen a change, obviously, of administration. We saw from President Trump to President Biden. Yeah. I mean, do you think under President Biden that there's more hope for the US? I mean, the US has always been a difficult country when it comes to climate change because there's a lot of climate change deniers there. Obviously, and their former president almost encouraged that at times. Do you think under Biden that there's hope?
Well, environmentalists are happy with Biden for even for even recognizing the challenge posed by climate change. That is one. The commitments have not been met. There's always this tension between environment and economics and all that. And when presidents are talking, no matter the country, it's all about interest, first of all. I don't think any president goes to trade off the country's interest economically and all that to put the government at a disadvantage before the people. But at the same time, United States is a leader, and they have done the needful, which is taking leadership in mobilizing other countries. But in concrete action, measurable action, I don't think we have seen much in that regard.
I mean, what would you like to see if President Biden was here now and said, what can we do? Because obviously Africa is a continent that's probably one that suffers the worst because of these industrial nations' actions. What would you like the US president to do?
Yes, when people talk about climate change, it's a very wide argument. It covers health. It covers climate change is at the root of many social conflicts we have in Africa. But most importantly, climate change in Africa, according to this same report, if not mitigated now, could lead to 40 million people being driven into extreme poverty in the next 8 years. How do we handle that? Support should be given to these affected, vulnerable countries to create environment-friendly jobs that will address two things at the same time, which is creating jobs for people and at the same time supporting global action towards reducing the effects of climate change. Nigeria, for instance, has the challenge of regreening certain areas, planting trees. There should be international support to plant these trees. Planting these trees are in themselves jobs. So you create jobs, getting people to plant trees, and at the same time making sure that we create necessary vegetation to be able to balance out the effect of climate change.
Now, obviously in November we saw the COP26 where there was a whole host of policies, like you said, that were discussed. Some were agreed, some weren't. I mean, do you think that the COP26 actually made a difference, or do you think it got the issue in the news for a couple of weeks and then moved on?
It's always good to have conferences, and that was a very good one. Successful in the sense that the conference recognized what the challenges were. The people left the conference with solutions being outlined. It's just about 3 months since after the conference. The actions, we have not started seeing the actions. But I'm happy, even before this conference got into session proper, it was agreed that efforts should be made to reverse deforestation. I'm interested in getting our employment greener. It has been said, but what has been done since then? Nothing much. So I can only say that the conference has been successful, but will be more successful if agreements reached at the conference are met. And then there's going to be another conference in a few months, in November in Egypt, COP27, and I hope that it's going to be even more successful. If we keep having these conferences upon conferences, and the planet continues to get hotter and hotter, then the results are not being achieved. You see. So what will happen is to identify where countries need help, and tackle it at the roots and make sure that the vulnerable countries are supported to be able to come out of those vulnerabilities. The climate change is at the root of food crisis. People are dying of hunger. Farmers cannot go to farm. Conflicts we have in Nigeria and other places, occasioned by climate change, people are moving and taking lands that don't belong to them. Flooding is taking place, chasing people out of farms. Farmers cannot go to farm, they get killed by bandits. So these are all things that we need global, concerted, drastic action to stop. Otherwise, the planet, we are all endangered.
Indeed, and sadly, it's a subject that we'll no doubt be having to discuss many times here on Arise News. But Patrick, for now, we'll have to leave it there. But thank you so much indeed for joining this evening.
America.